All these pictures have something in common. This place, but also this place, and more specifically, this guy.
What they do is incredibly dexterous. I can't do once what they have to do all day, which is take that thread and just throw it through a little hole.
In 1992, at the age of 25, Mitch Kahn quit his job on Wall Street and bought a bankrupt hat factory in Jersey City at an auction sale. This was Jersey City in 1992. The idea was to make baseball hats for the fashion market, including brands like The Gap. It was a trend at the time. But there was a hiccup. American manufacturing was fleeing to cheaper factories overseas and undercutting Mitch's prices.
Before Clinton was president, everything was made in the USA. By 1994, everyone was overseas making hats.
Mitch needed a new plan, so he turned to groups with a vested interest in manufacturing goods in the U.S. And at the top of that list was political campaigns, which is where this story gets interesting.
Bush is buying up to $10 million in printing in Brazil. The president don't buy American for his campaign.
Making campaign gear offshore created the potential for political scandal.
We're making hats for almost all the candidates. We're doing work for Hillary Clinton, Bernie Sanders, Jeb Bush. If someone is having a hat made here, then they're making a decision to use American labor.
Campaigns aren't the only clients who rely on Mitch's US-based factory.
There are socially compliant companies and nonprofits who want to avoid any possible connotation that their product could be made in a sweatshop.
Political campaigns are where Mitch has really dominated the market. Now located in Newark, his factory has been pumping out hundreds of thousands of hats from behind these doors.
What we've seen more and more is candidates being very savvy to use American labor. We've done basically every Democratic primary candidate since 2004. This is how a hat is cut right here. It uses a hydraulic press. And then we embroider those panels flat rather than doing it after the hat's finished.
The bad optics of a made-in-China label aren't the only thing driving political business to Mitch.
The market is moving to this small batch customization. Consumers are expecting to get products that they order in 2 or 3 weeks, and you can't wait 60 or 90 days for goods to come in on a ship. You generally have to order a much larger quantity of goods when you bring things in from China than you can domestically, and there's no way you can get things turned around in a week or two.
Which is key in the ever-changing landscape of politics. Campaigns rarely have the luxury of bulk ordering a set amount of products months in advance. They rely on quick turnarounds and flexible order sizes while replenishing their online stores. A bonus for the campaigns, especially those seeking a much-needed endorsement from a big union, Mitch also uses organized labor.
This is the step where the baseball cap is born. After the sweatband's on, we cut it, put the straps on, do a visual inspection, trim any loose threads, and then throw it onto a blocking machine, which gives the hat its shape. There you have the finished Hillary hat.
Once mostly the norm among textile manufacturers, Mitch's pro-union stance is a rarity these days, which is something he's proud of.
Any difference in wages is made up for in increased productivity by the workers who are generally more content in their jobs. This was a union shop since the day we opened. I believe over half of our people have been here for at least 15 years.
As manufacturing costs remain relatively flat in the US while rising dramatically in places like China, Mitch's pro-labor stance could become more prevalent. It's possible other manufacturers will follow Mitch's lead, and we'll see more textile work come back to the USA. For now, Mitch's Made in Newark factory is still producing the vast majority of the hats you see on the presidential campaign trail. But the most popular hat he's ever produced? You might have a guess if you've been tuned in to the 2016 campaign season.
This is the hottest thing out there. This hat, you can't get it.
Probably the hat we make the most here is a hat that says "Make America Great Again," which was made popular by Donald Trump, and we're making that for a company pushing this hat as a made in USA version of the hat.
The hat Mitch makes is a knockoff. Trump, unsurprisingly, uses a non-union factory in California to produce the authentic version. But with all the polarization these days, it's nice to know so many other politicians on both sides of the aisle can agree on one thing. Newark's a great place to make hats.
I mean, everybody is in agreement.